Tamara, let me know when you want to, when you would like to, start reading from Neville Goddard. We can do that on, yeah, let me know.
I thought we were going to read Yoga Vasishta.
Oh, we could do that. Yeah, we could do that.
I'd
I
like to
You want
do
love
to
that.
start
Neville
with that?
Goddard. Yeah. Oh, he's wonderful.
Oh,
He
I love
was.
Neville Goddard.
Yes.
Whatever you want, we could do.
Okay, maybe Neville Goddard. Oh, okay, yeah.
We could
Soon.
do both.
I can start right away. So let's do it.
I think both too.
Yeah, we'll connect about what time and stuff. What days, what times, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Well, that sounds like fun times, guys. I love that idea. All right, today, workbook lesson 122. Forgiveness offers everything I want. And like usual, I'm going to read a little bit from Tom's Understanding A Course in Miracles workbook lessons, and then we'll jump into the Circle of Atonement group's purple complete edition of A Course in Miracles, and then we'll have a little meditation and a fantastic Monday. I hope you guys are ready. Happy May if you're joining us. Lesson 122. Forgiveness offers everything I want. What could you want that forgiveness could not give? Do you want peace? True forgiveness offers peace. Do you want happiness? A quiet mind, a certainty of purpose, and a sense of worth and beauty that transcends this world. Do you want care and safety and the warmth of sure protection always? Do you want a quietness that cannot be disturbed, a gentleness that could never be hurt, a deep and abiding comfort, and a rest so perfect your rest could never be upset? All of these attributes forgiveness offers you, and more. True forgiveness sparkles on your eyes as you awake and gives you joy with which to meet the day. True forgiveness soothes your forehead while you sleep and rests upon your eyelids so you see no dreams of fear and evil, malice and attack. And when you awake again, forgiveness offers you another day of happiness and peace. All this forgiveness offers you and more. True forgiveness lets the veil be lifted that hides the face of Christ from those who look with unforgiving eyes upon the world. True forgiveness lets you recognize the Son of God and clears your memory of all dead thoughts so that remembrance of your Father can arise across the threshold of your split mind. What would you want that true forgiveness cannot give? What gifts but these are worthy to be sought? What fancied value, trivial effect, or transient, egoic promise, never to be kept, can hold more hope than what true forgiveness brings? Why would you seek an answer other than forgiveness? The answer that will answer everything. True forgiveness is the perfect answer given to imperfect questions, meaningless requests, half-hearted willingness to hear, and less than halfway diligence and partial trust. True forgiveness is the answer. Seek for your ego's answer for happiness no more. You will not find another answer instead of what true forgiveness offers. God's plan for your salvation cannot change, nor can God's plan for your salvation fail. Be thankful that God's plan for your salvation remains exactly as God planned it. Changelessly, God's plan for your salvation stands before you like an open door, with warmth and welcome calling from beyond the doorway, bidding you enter in and make yourself at home where you belong. God's plan for your salvation is the answer. Would you stand outside while all of heaven waits for you within? Forgive and be forgiven. As you give, you will receive. There's no plan but true forgiveness for the salvation of the Son of God. Let us today rejoice that God's plan for your salvation through true forgiveness is so. For here we have an answer for your salvation, clear and plain, beyond deceit, in the simplicity of God's plan. All the complexities the fear-based egoic world has spun of fragile cobwebs disappear before the power and the majesty of this extremely simple statement of the truth, that as you give, you will receive. Therefore, forgive and be forgiven. Here is the answer that true forgiveness gives. As you give, you will receive. Therefore, forgive and be forgiven. Do not turn away in egoic, aimless wandering again. Accept salvation now. Salvation's plan, that as you give, you will receive, is the gift of God's plan, and not your ego, fear-based world. The ego's world can give no gifts of any value to a healed mind that has received what God has given as your healed mind's own. God wills salvation be received today, and that the intricacies of your split mind's dreams no longer hide their nothingness from you. Open your eyes today and look upon a happy world of safety and of peace. Forgiveness is the means by which a happy world of peace comes to take place of your ego's hell. In quietness, a happy world of safety and peace rises up to greet your open eyes and fill your heart with deep tranquility as ancient truths, forever newly born, arise in your awareness. What you will remember then can never be described, yet your true forgiveness offers a happy world of safety and peace to you. Remembering the gifts true forgiveness gives, we undertake our practicing today with hope and faith that this will be the day. Salvation will be ours. Earnestly and gladly, we seek for salvation today, aware we hold the key that true forgiveness offers. Within our hands, accepting heaven's answer to the hell we made, but where we would remain no more. Morning and evening do we gladly give a quarter of an hour to the search in which the end of hell is guaranteed. Begin in hopelessness, for we have reached the turning point at which the road becomes far easier. And now the way to salvation is short that we travel. We're close indeed to the appointed ending of the egoic dream of separation. Sink into happiness as you begin these practice periods. For these practice periods, hold out the sure rewards of questions answered and what your acceptance of the answer brings. Today, it will be given you to feel the peace true forgiveness offers and the joy the lifting of the veil holds out to you. Before the light you will receive today, the world will fade until your ego's fear-based world disappears, and you will see another world arise that you have no words to picture. Now we walk directly into the light, and we receive the gifts that have been held in store for us since time began, kept waiting for today. True forgiveness offers everything you want. Today, all things you want are given you. Let not your gifts recede throughout the day as you return again to meet an egoic world of shifting change and bleak appearances. Retain your gifts that true forgiveness brings in clear awareness as you see the changeless in the heart of change, the light of truth behind egoic appearances. Be tempted not to let your gifts that true forgiveness brings slip by and drift into forgetfulness, but hold your gifts that true forgiveness brings firmly in your mind by your attempts to think of these gifts at least a minute as each quarter of an hour passes by. Remind yourself how precious are these gifts that true forgiveness brings with this reminder, which has the power to hold your gifts in your awareness throughout the day. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Today, I have accepted this as true. Today, I have received the gifts of God. All right. Let's get into our notes a little bit more deep into this lesson so we can take it to heart. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Lesson 122 continues with the theme of forgiveness, stating that true forgiveness offers everything you want. Forgiveness brings peace, happiness, and certainty of purpose, allowing you to transcend the fear-based thought system that creates your current provisional reality. Forgiveness lifts the veil that your body's senses and the physical world were designed to hide. It brings the illusions of sin, lack, and limitation before the truth of who you really are. This allows the fearful illusions of inadequacy and separation to be reframed into a happy dream that empowers and leads you to the reclamation of your divine birthright. This lesson does not define what true forgiveness entails, yet it does provide some clues. In paragraph 122.4, we're told that forgiveness is the perfect answer given to imperfect questions, meaningless requests, half-hearted willingness to hear, and less than halfway diligence and partial trust. But what does that mean? An imperfect question is a question that cannot be answered in a simple way because it has internal flaws within the logic of the question itself, or it places unfair limitations on the answer. The question often contains embedded assumptions that are assumed to be true, but are actually false. For example, an imperfect question might take the following form. Please answer this question with a simple yes or no. In the last 6 months, have you finally stopped beating your spouse? This question assumes that you were previously beating your spouse. It then places unreasonable restrictions on how you might reply. Whether you answer yes or no, you're damned. The ego's a master of asking imperfect questions. It's also a master at making meaningless requests. For example, your ego may tell you that you need a diamond ring so that you can be happy. This is a typical meaningless request, since nothing outside yourself has the ability to make you happy. Because the ego's thought system is based on its belief in lack, limitation, and separation, your ego's plan for your happiness implies something outside of your own mind has the power to make you happy or sad. It's this false belief that births all the grievances that you hold. No one has the power to rob you of your inner peace unless you choose to allow it. Yet all grievances are predicated on the belief that you're a victim of outside forces that are beyond your control. Your ego's plan for your happiness always rests on your mind's ability to be the source of your own happiness. Since forgiveness is the perfect answer to imperfect questions and meaningless requests, true forgiveness must have the ability to address, reframe, and correct the erroneous logic that the question itself entails. It must have the ability to reframe or transform a fearful dream into a non-frightening or even happy dream. True forgiveness must address the fact that the source of all fearful experiences is your mind's belief in its own littleness. True forgiveness must correct your ego's belief that you're a victim of outside forces that are beyond your control. This lesson does not state that God's exact plan for your salvation is, but it does state that God's plan is changeless and cannot fail. We are all guaranteed to reawaken to the truth of who we really are. The lesson does state that even in time and space, God's laws apply. God's primary law is that to give is to receive, because God's law applies even in the illusory world of provisional reality. When we forgive, we are forgiven. The overall plan for the salvation of the Son of God is as follows: forgive and be forgiven, for as you give, you will receive. This is a clear plan whose simplicity is beyond deceit. Yet God's plan for your decision to drop your allegiance to your fear-based thought system, Yet God's plan awaits your decision to drop your allegiance to your fear-based thought system and follow the voice for God. Before you decide which voice you will choose to follow today, remember that only true forgiveness offers everything you want. Today's question, and we'll come back to this point, today's question of the day is, because God never condemned you, God cannot forgive you, for there is nothing for God to forgive. Yet we're told, forgive and be forgiven, for as you give, you will receive. Who or what are we to forgive? And who or what is to forgive us? I'll paste that question in and I'll dive into our morning meditation. So take a couple of deep breaths and get your body prepared. Deep breaths slow our heart rate and enable us to reach a deeper state of receptiveness so that we will have a chance to get on the other side of this ego, to leave it behind, to pass back into heaven where we belong, because forgiveness offers everything I want today. Take a moment and feel what's supporting you. Feel the support the world gives you rising up to cradle your body and take you in peace and quiet to where your mind leads. Take a deep breath, soften your belly, fill up your lungs. Start to realize that you've got a place where you're connected down to the earth, just as we are all connected to the earth. A little jump off of the ground doesn't disconnect us from the earth. We're drawn right back to it. Its gravity is undeniable. So today, let Mother Earth support you. And in your mind, reach to heaven, because forgiveness will bring you there. There's nothing you could want that forgiveness cannot deliver. Do you want peace? Forgiveness offers that. Do you want happiness, a quiet mind, certainty of purpose, a sense of worth, beauty that transcends the world, care, safety, the warmth of sure protection, a quietness that can't be disturbed, a gentleness that could never be hurt, a deep, abiding comfort, and a rest so perfect it can't be upset. All of this forgiveness offers you. Take another deep breath. Fill your lungs with pure, clean air and hold that breath. Hold that breath. Hold that breath. And exhale with control, letting it out. Again, reacquainted with the surface supporting you. Imagine deep, red, dark roots reaching down into Mother Earth, where we're all connected, where we're all supported, where we're all enshrined in the beauty that this earth truly promises. We dwell in the Garden of Eden even though we don't see it. Today we open our eyes. Today we recognize we are the children of God, and we let God clear our memories of all the dead thoughts, so we can remember our Father and can arise across the threshold of our mind, that beauty that He can deliver. Take another deep breath. Hold that clean air in. Hold that deep breath. What could you want that forgiveness cannot give? What gifts but these are worthy to be sought? What fancied value, trivial effect, or transient promise never to be kept can hold more hope than what forgiveness brings? Why would you seek an answer other than the answer which will answer everything? Here is the perfect answer, given to imperfect questions, meaningless requests, half-hearted willingness to hear, and less than halfway diligence and partial trust. We have the answer at hand. Seek no more, for you will not find another one instead. God's plan for your salvation cannot change, nor can it fail. Be thankful. It remains exactly as He planned it. Changelessly, it stands before you like an open door, with warmth and welcome, calling from beyond the doorway, bidding you enter in. Make yourself at home where you belong. Today is the day we forgive and will be forgiven. And as you give, you will receive. There's no plan but this for the salvation of the child of God that you are. So let us today rejoice that this is so. For here we have an answer clear and plain, beyond deceit in its simplicity. All the complexities the world has spun of fragile cobwebs disappear before the power and the majesty of this extremely simple statement of truth. Accept salvation now with a deep breath. Pull in some deep air into your lungs. God wills salvation be received today. And that the intricacies of your dreams no longer hide their nothingness from you. Today we'll open our eyes and look upon a happy world of safety and peace. Forgiveness is the means by which it comes to take the place of where we've been. In quietness, it rises up to greet your open eyes and fill your heart with deep tranquility as ancient truths, forever newly born, arise in your awareness. Remember the gifts that forgiveness gives. Today, I'll remind in a little bit, we're going to come back to these thoughts over and over, every quarter hour, every 15 minutes. Today, it will be given you to feel the peace forgiveness offers and the joy the lifting of the veil holds out to you. Before the light you will receive today, the world will fade until it disappears. You will see another word arise that you have no words to describe. Now, we walk directly into light, and we receive the gifts that have been held for us since time began, kept waiting for today. Forgiveness offers everything you want, and today all things you want are given you. Let not your gifts recede throughout the day as you return again to meet a world of shifting change and bleak appearances. Hold tight to your gifts in clear awareness that as you see the changeless in the heart of change, the light of truth behind appearances. Remind yourself how precious these gifts are, and this reminder will hold these gifts in your awareness throughout the day. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Today I have accepted this as true. Today I have received the gifts of God. Thank you for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate it. This is one of my favorite lessons, and it's so much more meaningful having you guys with me so that we can share this time. Thank you so much. Today's lesson, forgiveness offers everything I want. Tell me what you're thinking. Go ahead.
I felt so inspired. Oh my gosh. I was writing the whole time. I had this like, okay, I'm just going to read it. It wasn't that long, but I looked down at at the body. I saw forgiveness of my perception. I saw cuteness and thickness. I saw appreciation. I saw unconditional love, the one spirit. I saw the surreality, the image portrayed, expressed in the material density of the soul. I forgave and relished in the joys in the joys, all inclusive. I just realized why I do not require much rest, because I am not exhausting my ego. I'm not in conflict with the awareness. I'm not struggling with with the concept of opposition, of duality, of separation. Nothing excluded. I looked down again. I looked from the side to see a different perspective of my belly. I saw the Buddha. I looked down again and I saw all is well with my soul.
Beautiful.
I went from a whole gamut. I looked at my belly.
I love it. I love it, Andy.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I really love it.
Lead that meditation. Oh my goodness. Thank you.
I can only say that I wish I could remember what I said. It comes out, and it definitely is coming through me, and not from me. So I am super grateful that I can get into a state where it can come through me too. But what more could I ask for in inspiration? This is a great place to start a day, great place to start a week. And I welcome all of you guys coming. I'm really glad you're here. Daniela and David down in the audience. If this is your first time, I really welcome you. I'm glad you're here. We're here every morning reading these lessons from A Course in Miracles. We're in the middle of the book right now. 122 days into the year and 122 lessons in. We're here every morning starting at about 6:30, and you're always welcome to join us. And thank you for everybody who's been coming back. I can tell you, you are all my mighty companions on this trip, and I am so grateful to have companions. It's much, much easier than when Dad and I started reading this about 6 years ago to get through these lessons and for this stuff to make sense. And I can remember how frustrating it was to try and make some of these sentences make sense that are so crystal clear to me now. So if it seems obtuse, if it seems unmanageable or hard to understand, talk to us and you can maybe get a tip and a trick. But I know that with absolute certainty that time makes this clear, that going through these lessons makes all of them clear. And we come back to the same message every day, really. Forgiveness gets us out of our ego and gets us back into God. And so today and these next 18 lessons are really going to be centered around that and getting right back into where our Father brings us. Thank you for joining us.
I want to say that listening to Andy's beautiful poem, I was just thinking to myself that that if I'm easier on myself and I forgive myself, it feels so much easier to forgive everybody else. And I think that was the whole trick, was that I was being so hard on myself. And that's what I think allowed me to be so hard on everybody else. Um, but yeah, Lee, I know that that came through you because like the frequency's buzzing. So thank you.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Well, this is an interesting lesson to me because now I know that really the forgiveness part of our practice is what gave us the key to the kingdom of heaven. But the question that Tom did in his book is really one to reflect on. Who or what are we to forgive, and who or what is to forgive us? And in the second part of that question, I am realizing that I need to do a deep thought. I need to have a deep thought on my still on my perception, because in the first part I can really say, well, I have pretty much forgiven all the strong things that kept me in the resentment. I mean, I forgave my dad. I'm really thankful for him being the first one that was trying to teach me the biggest lesson of my life. And then all the men that were in my life, and my ex-husband, and my mom, whatever. I mean, I already feel that I have forgive my past experience in that sense. But when I come to the and who or what is to forgive me, the first thought that came to my mind was my daughter. I'm so afraid still to not know what this turn in my life it will bring in her life, that I still think that maybe she will grow with some resentment towards me. So I feel that maybe she needs to forgive me because I need to forgive myself. And I know that I'm doing things because I feel really deeply guided, and I know that the most loving thing that I could do for myself was doing this. But the illusion of separation is so strong when it comes to your relationship as a mother with your son or your daughter, that it's a huge challenge for the mind not to feel in the need of forgiveness. And I know my daughter loves me. She always tells me. Last night she have a small chat with me, and out of the blue, I was just hanging around with her through the video chat, and out of the blue she said, "Mommy, you're the best mommy in the world." And that gave me like, oh God, I bless you, my lovely daughter. But every single day is a challenge for me. Thinking that this could be the greatest example for her life or the greatest resentment of her life. So I have to do every single day my exercises in order for me to reverse that strong thought. Because as I just said, what?
Can I turn it upside down for you?
Yeah, thank you.
The best
Please do
gift you
so.
could give her is something that she could forgive. Right now, this is it. Forgiveness offers everything you want. It's the doorway right back home. So you're doing exactly what she needs. You're the perfect mother.
And now it's time to cry, because those words. Let's all cry together. This is so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Every single day, whenever I got the thought of me doing something, thank you. I know that this is the greatest example that I can give to her, because if I can build my life around my new perception of life itself, I mean, the concept of being one with God and with everything, what else can I give to her that could be stronger in her life to have her living a, a joyous and happy life? This is the greatest gift that I can give to her. Thank you very much, Lee. Yeah, that's true. That's the biggest challenge I'm facing right now.
I was doing an exercise once, and I, was doing this exercise, and it dragged on and on and on and on, and eventually the instructor or whatever came over and it says, uh, I think you're done. You've forgiven everything. You've forgiven the world. You've forgiven all the things. And I says, no, I think I still got a ways to go. I tell them to leave. But anyways, what I realized is I continued on and I didn't take his advice, or in this case, it was actually her. But I realized that what I hadn't done, I had forgiven everything, but I never forgave myself. I never forgave myself for requiring all those what people might consider negative experiences, uh, for me having to go through all those things. And it was that forgiveness of yourself for requiring or demanding from other people that they help you suffer, or they create environments in which you can pretend you're a victim. That really I needed to forgive myself. And once I did that and realized that these were all my own desires, my own needs, that I was on my own perfect path, and I could appreciate those experiences for the learning lessons that they provided, was I only then really free. Because before that, I uh, had supposedly forgiven these people, but not myself. And all those things are your own internal uh, beliefs. We project out the other person as being the cause of our problem, but they're just actors that are fulfilling our desire to experience the idea that we're not perfect, whole, and complete, that we are innocent victims of outside forces beyond our control. And whenever we realize that we have come here for those experiences so that we can reawaken to the truth, give ourselves permission to appreciate and actually be grateful for those people, uh, then you start realizing what they mean with true forgiveness, and it really uh, sets you free. You're able to leave the prison of your own egoic mind and stop arguing for your limitations. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it does feel like freedom in some higher level. Everything that has going on here, and I know that it is the greatest example that I can give her. Thank you for those words, Tom. Thank you.
Hi guys, good morning.
Hey, Dinesh.
Grand Rising.
How's everyone?
Doing well.
Okay, I have a question. What if you're not able to forgive someone or a group of people for what they've done to you? Let's just say you tried, and let's just say it's too much, and they keep on doing it on and on again. So let's say someone did something to you and then you said, okay, let's move on, I forgive you, and then they do something again, and the same thing just keeps repeating over the years, and then they get used to the fact that whatever they do, you're going to forgive them and move on with it. So it just gets
Yeah.
worse and worse and worse. So my question is, I've been thrown into jail um, for something I didn't do. They cheated me. They stole my house, my kids' future, my kids' college fund was seized just to get financial assets off me. This was done by my sister and my father. Now, if I'm trying to forgive them, I'm trying, and it's not working. Uh, he's even come back crying to me and blah blah blah, and I've made mistakes. I'm sorry. I took him in, and again, it messed up. But what I'm trying to say is, what if I'm unable to forgive someone for what they've done, because they have deeply, it's impacted me deeply, mentally, psychologically, etc., etc. I cannot blame myself for not being able to forgive someone for doing such dirty things to me, on and on and on and on again. That's the first question. So what if I'm unable? What if I sincerely tried, sincerely, that uh, the Lord says forgive, and I don't know if you guys, the story, is it about the guy who the guy Jacob or Moses or someone who his father told his brothers to take him somewhere, and then they threw him in a hole, and then they tried to kill him, and they sold him as a slave, and many years later he was a big guy, and they came to him and he forgave them and welcomed them. There's a story in the Bible, I think, I can't remember which one. So I follow that story, and I'm like, you know what, Dinesh, there's a bigger picture. So forgive, forget, move on. But the thing is, the people just keep doing it again and again and again and exploiting me, and it's reached a
Yeah.
stage where I can't forgive. I can't forgive. It's not that I don't want to forgive. Please don't take me wrong. Um, I I just can't, because if someone if anyone here in the room has kids, and fine, if someone does something to you, maybe you'll say fine, let's just move on with it, be friends, whatever. But if they continue doing things and it's impacting your children and their future, and what it is as you want as a parent for your kids, and instead of helping you, they're destabilizing that, it's impacting your kids. So then you're like, what the hell is going on? I mean, I can't forgive this.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I hope I'm not wrong for that,
No.
and I mean, the thing is, I keep hearing this again and again and again, and don't take me wrong, please, I beg you, but I'm actually sick and tired of hearing the word, you need to forgive, you need to forgive. Yeah, sometimes in life you do, because I put myself in the opposite person's position. That, look, okay, so the other day someone did something, and it was a kid, and I was like, that's okay, don't worry about it. And I said, what if tomorrow my son did that, my little kid did that to someone? So wouldn't you want the person to forgive him if he was sincerely sorry about it? I was like, yeah, of course. So there is an element of forgiving people sincerely when they mean it, and when it's not something which is so deep, but it's really, really hard when people keep on taking advantage of the fact that you're going to keep on forgiving them. So I think what I'm trying to say is that if you cannot forgive people, even though you've tried and they've constantly kept on taking advantage of the fact that you keep forgiving them, I guess that's also okay, because you gave it a shot. They took a punch at you again. You gave it a shot. They took a punch at you again. Now it's time to say, hey, listen, um, I'm not going to forgive you. I want my distance and stay the hell away from you. Otherwise, I'm going to punch you back. So I just hope that that's not wrong, because that's where I stand today.
Well, I
There was
got you.
something else I was going to say, which
You'll have a chance to say it, I promise. But I too got put in jail. I too have my kids from my perception here through my eyeballs getting continually hurt. Their mother put me in jail.
really,
Their mother
wow.
put me in jail more than once.
I'm so
I
sorry to hear that.
forgave her. It's okay. It's okay. That was my path. It was absolutely necessary for me to get hurt at that level to be able to practice forgiveness at this level. I can't have the opportunity to find out if I can actually rise above without the opportunity to practice it. It's a gift in a way
Yeah,
that we never really want. But if we don't have this gift, we don't have a chance to do it. And in the end, it will be your salvation. In the end, you will be able to show your kids, hey, no matter what, this is the thing that brought me into the kingdom of heaven. This is the thing that enabled me to realize I can rise above anything anybody does, because the peace of mind that God offers me is more important than anything they can do to this measly little body. It's not the measly body that counts. And your kids will have a chance to rise above too, because you're going to be a better example for them. I know it's hard to accept these things as gifts. Trust me. I got in a fight with Adriana this weekend because of it. I I was bound and determined to see that my kids were missing me and that I was in a bad place, because I can't call this woman. She has me blocked. And if I call her, she doesn't have a restraining order against me right now, but at the beginning of March, she took one out. And for 17 days, I couldn't call my kids. I couldn't talk to my kids. Talking to my kids would have enabled her to call the police and have them come put me in jail again. And we've been doing this since 2016. So 6 years worth of this. And it's not easy. I don't want it. But right this minute, I can see it as a gift. Right this minute, I can see it as a blessing. And the trick is to stay in time, in the present, right here, right now, and forgive right here, right now. And 15 minutes from now, you might have to do it again. But if you can stay here in the present, that's where the gifts truly are. And that's where the rubber hits the road, my friend. That's where we have to act so that we can see the results of our actions. It is a blessing, and I hope you can see it and take it as a blessing, because that's the thing that can transform you, brother.
I would look at it with a little different approach, because I always look at everything as, what is it trying to teach me? What is it trying to call into my awareness? And when you have those experiences, be they good or be they bad, it's interesting to ask, what would I have to believe about myself to perhaps, what would a person have to believe about themselves to have that experience constantly called into their awareness? What would, and on the flip side, what would a person have to believe about themselves to have favorable experiences called into their awareness? And whenever you start realizing that your thoughts or your beliefs uh, are manifested in physical reality and are teaching lessons, then you start seeing those experiences and saying, uh, someone kicked me in the face today. Someone, and I forgave them. Uh, Someone tomorrow kicked my teeth in. and I forgave him. You have to ask yourself when you're in negative repeating cycles, whether they're with the same person or with other actors, what do I have to believe? And perhaps the lesson that the Holy Spirit is is trying to teach you to get through our thick skull is that maybe the notion that I'm not worthy of respect or that it's okay to disrespect me because I don't value myself or I believe that I deserve being punished or having to pay some retribution for something, but there's something wrong with me, okay, and therefore I deserve it. Maybe that's the lesson. And what we often do is we try and focus on the outside party that's trying to help us learn that lesson. And so, insanity has been defined as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. In time and space, we're given certain actors that their role is to be scorpions in our lives. And the role of a scorpion is to sting. Why? That's just their nature. Okay, that's just a role they're given. It's not anything bad. That's just what scorpions do. And we need to be aware that in this fear-based world, we need some scorpions around. That's why it's a fear-based world. And we need those experiences. Those experiences trying to teach us something. So if we realize that maybe the experience is trying to teach me that I don't believe that I'm worthy of being respected, that I don't believe that I am God's beloved child, but that I believe that I'm some sinner that still has to do penance and repent or have suffering in my life. That's what we're ultimately that's trying to teach us. And we've got to forgive ourselves for allowing those things and for our misunderstanding of the truth about what we are. And so, whenever I speak of forgiveness, often we have to forgive ourselves and learn the lesson. And whenever you learn that lesson, what you're doing, Dimesh, is actually saying that, for the last 50 years or 5 lifetimes, we've I've been in this relationship of not respecting myself, not standing up for myself, uh, even though I realize that I'm not the body and the body is not me. If you're that far along, still in time and space, we're trying to learn to respect one another. To the idea of uh, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. uh, that's something we're perhaps trying to learn. So now what I do is I take those lessons and say I need to correct my own stinking thinking about who I am, what I am, that now I'm deserving of respect. Realize that because now I'm deserving of respect, I say, what would a person that respects themselves do in that relationship whenever somebody was constantly kicking sand in their face or kicking their teeth out? And that would be to take some different action. What that action is, I have to ask the Holy Spirit to guide me on that. But the Holy Spirit will always tell us and meet us where we are and give us some suggestions as to the most loving we can perform in that present state of fear. It might mean that when we ask, we're told to strike back. It might mean when we're asked, we're told to call the sheriff. It might mean that when we're asked, rather than try and constantly confront that person or change that person, we need to leave. In a relationship, there's three things that we can do. One is try and change the person. History should have showed us that that never works. You can never fix somebody or change somebody when they don't want to be changed, when they believe that they're entitled to their whatever it is, their truth. So that doesn't work, trying to change somebody. The second is to try and make the best of a situation. Okay, so what you're trying to do there is restructure the situation in the most tolerant ways to minimize your fear, realizing that maybe there's, you do some cost benefit analysis and you figure, well, I need to stay in this relationship, but I want to try and improve. So you try and make the best of the situation. The third one is to leave, okay, to realize that uh, we can't change that other person. There's not enough benefits in sticking in that situation. So I need to exit. Now, what's interesting, and that's not a failure on your part, that's just a realization that sometimes there's scorpions. If you would have met me, you would have found a scorpion. That's all. And I'd kick you in the teeth for no reason whatsoever. That's the way I was. Okay. So uh, you need to maybe get out of those relationships. What's interesting, though, is that we'll talk a little bit about the battered wife syndrome or the abusive situation. Those people often leave a present situation 3 months, 6 months later, they've attracted the same situation. They might have left town. They might have gone to a different state, a different country, even. They're in supposedly a different environment. The one common denominator in all those different environments is themselves. Okay. And so they need to start looking and saying, what is it about my beliefs about myself that want to continue to attract abusers into my life? And once they start doing that, if they start changing their beliefs that they're worthy of respect, that they are lovable, that they are not just somebody that can be loved by scumbags in the world, they start giving themselves permission to attract a different type of experience. So I would say that be aware that if one way isn't working, the universe is trying to tell you there's something wrong with your own internal beliefs, and you better correct them because what the universe is trying to teach us is our beliefs generate our experiences. And we want to argue that the outside world is throwing crap our way. Uh, but once we understand that its thoughts become things, we start guarding our thoughts and realizing there's something wrong with our stinking thinking. We believe we're not worthy. We believe that we're deserving of getting kicked in the teeth. And we have to correct that belief that even in time and space, okay, uh, we can do certain things and we can even punch back without necessarily losing our inner peace because we're just realize that we're actors and that that other person, just like the Putins in the world, or you might say some of these other people, they need to perhaps also be, they're trying to learn lessons too. And we need to realize that uh, the Holy Spirit, if we ask, rather than the ego, the Holy Spirit will give us an array of options. And some of those options might surprise us because they're not what the ego says a spiritual person would do. A spiritual person, according to our ego, would lay down and turn the other cheek. And if we realize that we don't have a cheek, that's just a game token, then maybe we'll realize that we can respond to a similar game token and realize that if I bang up the game token, and I'm not necessarily advocating that, but if I do that, that's the most loving response that I could do at that time. And that tomorrow, because I responded that way, maybe I'll find that tomorrow I'll just be able to swear at him. Or maybe I'll say, I'm going to leave this time, my brother. And God bless you. You want a miserable life for yourself? Fine. That's your God given right. You can have that for yourself if you want. But I no longer choose to participate in it. That's what I would say. Thank you. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you. Can I just ask you a quick one? I heard everything you said, and I can relate to some of it. I think one thing I want to ask you is when you say that the third one, I think you said was part of it is your own internal belief system, and your thought becomes your reality. So my question is, all right, that's something I've also been hearing and studying and researching and practicing and digesting is thoughts. What you think is what happens, or your thoughts become your reality. So that's like the law of attraction. But I don't know how to ask you this. Does that really work? Because is there anyone who can give me um an experience, or like can I say like an example that, look, this happened to me because of this, and that proves that what you think is what happens. Because then
Yeah,
again, that means we all have the ability to correct our lives by thinking positive or thinking good things or happy things. So, but it's hard to believe that what you think will actually happen, you know?
that's an interesting concept because one of the reasons that you get so much pushback on the law of attraction, and I don't teach that. I teach the law of deliberate creation. That's a whole lot different. But the law of attraction basically comes out with this idea that there's a universal genie and my wish is my command. What people don't realize is that uh, there's various levels of our own beliefs. We don't believe that we go around wishing that someone kick us in the teeth. Not on a conscious level. Some people actually do wish that. I probably was one, although I would have claimed that that wasn't the case. But you know, on a conscious level, we don't necessarily believe that we're deserving of disrespect, not on a conscious level. And like I say, there's some exceptions where we are. Uh, so the law of attraction doesn't seem to work because we don't understand sometimes how the universe thinks, that it doesn't understand the reverse of an idea, which is the negation of or resisting. But uh, barring that, uh, it doesn't work because we don't realize that just like an iceberg, 90% of our beliefs are underwater. Our uh, subconscious, unconscious beliefs that we actually hold. So, on a conscious level, which is the 10%, we say, oh, I wish that person acted nice to me. But on a subconscious level, we might believe that I don't deserve being respected, that I need to, because I'm a sinner or whatever garbage I've been taught about myself, brainwashed into misbelieving. Uh, those things there, because I believe that I still have to do some penance, and it might be penance I have to do now so that I can get to heaven at some later time. Okay, my reward should be suspended, and I should put up with all the crap uh, until so that I can get to heaven some future time in some fantasy land that never occurs. Uh, but what we want to do is realize that's why I asked the question. The universe throws crap your way. You didn't want that crap. That's why you have to ask, what would someone, not necessarily myself, because I obviously, on a conscious level, don't believe that I'm worthy of being shit upon. Uh, we get this situation we ask, what would someone have to believe, and start throwing out different ideas? Or if you're fortunate enough to have other people that you can trust in the exercise that ask, they could throw out some different possibilities. They might say, well, maybe you don't think you're lovable. Maybe you don't think you're worthy. Maybe you feel that, and on and on and on. And as you hear those things, you might find that one will really light up and resonate with you. And that's probably the real problem that you have, that in this case, I don't think I'm lovable, or I think that I'm a bad person and therefore I deserve to be disrespected. And realize that if you can believe this, and you know that maybe some of the things that have happened are beyond your present memory. Uh, there might be previous lifetimes, previous experiences where maybe those roles were a little bit different, or where you have, you're trying to come back and pay back something from the past that you believe you deserve. You have to do penance. So just ask yourselves and be open to all possibilities of what would I have to believe about myself. And you probably will hit on something. Now, can't come up with that something doesn't resonate. Just start taking those things and saying, if I don't believe that or if a person like that might not believe that they're deserving respect, say, okay, I want to, that any type of belief, you can ask yourself, is that supportive or helpful, or is it impeding to the goal that I wish to achieve? When it's impeding, then what we need to do is we have to say, that's a belief that I want to discard or discreate. You don't have the power to discreate that belief, which is a little bit beyond this right now. But if you don't have that, what we need to do is we have to come up with some corollary belief, because we don't have faith that we have the power to discreate the belief, or we're not willing to, because it has some benefit to us, and it might always there's always some benefit in a negative belief, even if that's just that it's not my fault, I'm a victim of outside forces beyond my control. There's always some benefit to that. But if I'm willing to move out of that, then we want to start creating a belief that says that I am now worthy, or an exception to the rule. For example, like in my case where I'm stupid, that if I study hard, I can get decent grades. Okay. That was something that maybe was believable because I was so indoctrinated into my belief that I was stupid, that, and I had plenty of experiences to prove that. I had to baby step my way. So it would be, if I study real hard, I could get good grades. Okay. When you start giving yourself a corollary belief, what that is, that carves out an exception to the general rule that gives you now the possibility of winning. What we want at first is just a possibility of winning, because we're so used to sick and tired of losing all the time. Okay, so now we get this possibility that we got a way to win. And what that means is I need to take action, because now I believe that if I study hard, I could change my reality. Poor grades. I try to do that. I start studying hard, and I start in a creation cycle: beliefs, actions, coupled with the events surrounding us, become our experiences, move into feedback, go back to beliefs. Okay, in that, now I've taken different action, okay, which is a requirement that people don't like to believe in the law of attraction. I take different action because I now have a different belief, a corollary belief that says, if I study hard, I can get good grades. Okay, now I have to perform, act, study hard. Ah, I got a different result. Okay. If I don't get a different result, okay, and I've really done it, then I realize that, hey, there's got to be a different exception, okay, because we always look back to reality or to this world experience to find out if we're making progress. If we're not making progress, we make mid-course correction because our goal is to end up with the result that we want. And this is how you kind of baby step your way towards it. But you give yourself a chance to win, and you all realize that sometimes uh, it's it's difficult to overturn something totally different. I could give you an experience of totally flipping reality, but I've talked long enough on that. But it is possible, and you need to give yourself permission, even if it's just a corollary. Like, for example, with your situation with your father, you could say, I've tried this before. I've, he's done a lot of things wrong. Perhaps he needs to be aware, or uh, I'm going to react something differently. And when you do that, you're not necessarily not forgiving him. You're actually freeing him to go ahead and continue to disrespect other people, but not yourself. You're not making him a wrong for his desire to disrespect people. You're just saying that, I've learned that lesson. We've played that game. Uh, I've been your whipping boy for a while, maybe a few lifetimes. And now I think it's no longer fun for me. So go ahead and whip somebody else, but don't come back to me.
So
That
there's
the
one thing
way?
that Lee always says to me when I feel engaged with the ego, and he said, maybe this time is not for you to learn something, Adriana. Maybe this time is because you're teaching me something that I need to learn for myself. So maybe that's as well another
And,
way to view it. But
maybe sometimes the lesson that we're here to learn is that uh, I cannot fix, change, control, protect, or impress anyone. That in reality, uh, if someone, and whenever we go that, I ask this question: how do you fix somebody or solve their problem when their problem is that they don't want it solved by you? How do you solve that person's problem? It's impossible.
Let someone
And
else solve it.
maybe that's what,
you
yeah,
move away.
we're here to learn.
Tom, you
I
said
thought
that you
this morning.
oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, Bob. Oh, I was saying to Tom, you said you flipped reality or you did something. You said you talked long enough, but I'd be interested to hear how you did that if everybody else would love to hear that. I know I would.
It's a long story, but I, I, I'd like to, I could, but I don't know. I'd like to see somebody else that, you know, uh, I don't want to take up people's time. If people really are interested, I could. Um, I'll leave that up to the audience.
I'll give a short version here. For me, the first thing that happened this morning was I saw Dinesh came into the room. I said, "Oh, goody, we're going to have a juicy meeting because he's a hard nut to crack."
Thanks for
And
saying that.
I
Thank you.
got my wish. It's a miracle for me. And here's what I'd like to say, and this is straight out of this book that we study every day. It has a lot of ways of solving a myriad of problems, and I would venture to say that there aren't any problems that it can't solve. The understanding that comes from doing the 365 lessons in a year's time, whether you start on January or June, it doesn't matter. But the idea is that there has to be some continuity of application for this to work. If we want miracles in our life, we have to learn what a miracle is and how we can have miracles in our life. Now, you're talking about your life, but your entire focus is on what they did to you. And what's happening is your present time, the time that you could be enjoying possibly life, is taken up with bad thoughts. So, how can you enjoy life today if you're thinking about what they did to you? It comes down to, Adriana, here's another wordplay for you. If you're going to live in the present, you can't continue to entertain past memories. If you do, whether they're good or bad, you're going to be stuck in the past. Well, the greatest gift for us is to have peace of mind in the present, no matter what has happened in the past. And that becomes a present in the present time. That's what we're looking for. And what we really get to find out is that we begin to see a presence, Presence, a presence with a capital P, that begins to change the direction of our lives. We are in the present time. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday or the day before or last year. Right now, I want to enjoy the present time. That is the greatest present I can give myself. And it's the presence, knowing that there is a presence here that can fix anything. Now, one more thing here. What are you when you are in the present moment? Well, let's say well, first of all, you are your thoughts. You are your feelings. You are what you feel right now today. If what you're entertaining, what your thoughts are doing, if you're entertaining that, that's all well and good. But if most of them are negative thoughts, then what's happening? Only a small part of you is really in the present time. Most of it's in the past. For other people, most of it is spent in the future. The more you bring yourself to be in the present moment, regardless of what's happened in the past, regardless of what you might be afraid of in the future, the more you can enjoy the present. Now, the program goes on to say we can take care of the present, we can take care of the past, and we can take care of the future. We get rid of the past because it's all an illusion. Anything that happened in the past for today is an illusion. Then it was real. For today, it's an illusion you are keeping in your mind. Therefore, what you're doing is keeping a bunch of crap in your mind today. If you're worried about the future, oh, they're going to do it again. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Then you're living in the future. You can't enjoy the present. Even in the war across the waters that's going on right now, they waited each day to see what was going to happen next. But in that moment, they were still able, in the Ukraine, to be able to be present, completely present and prepare. In your case, Dinesh, I'm going to give you a definition of a miracle. There are 50 of them in the beginning of the book. This one says, a miracle is a correction factor introduced into false thinking by me. The me that miracle refers to is none other than Jesus, who is everywhere, and he's there too. So I'll read it again. A miracle is a correction factor introduced, it's a thought introduced into false thinking by me. It acts as a catalyst, shaking erroneous perception and snapping it into place. God has a way of shifting your thoughts when you allow Him to make it okay for your present moments if you allow Him to. So, I sent you a prayer in the back channel. It's the one of the first prayers in this book. I will to do what God wants me to will to do. They say it out in the opposite way. I will what God wants me to will to do, I am willing to do. So the whole point here is to forget for a moment in your meditation and your prayer, what is it that's bothering the crap out of me? And say, I want to do what God wants me to want to do. I'm having trouble with that. And that's what Dinesh says in the morning when he comes here. I want to do this, but I can't seem to do it. So the prayer is, help me to want to do what you want me to do. And that is to forgive. Why? Because it's the nice thing to do? No, because it's better for you today to have a better day today. He wants you to be in the present moment. So that's my spiel for today. Thank you.
Oh, I have something to
Bravo.
add. Oh, uh, well, mine will be very quick here. I just would like to add that I appreciate you guys for saying all. I've noticed that every single time I give into to or become aware of a victim mentality surfacing in myself, I can't stand it enough to say, how can I change this? And then I realized that from that perspective, I will not see the change. I will never see the change from that perspective of having that surface in me and stay there. So I have to try to be willing to test out the idea of seeing myself with all the control over myself. And it lets me see what that I want to see what that's like. I want to test that for myself. I want to experience a different outcome. So it's just the will. And I love that. Thank you.
I wanted to say something, if I could, hopefully quickly, in regards to why I forgive. Uh, yeah, I'm divinely selfish, okay, and I am into energy, okay, and when you refuse to forgive, what you do is you tie up a energy circuit, uh, replaying or keeping that old hurt alive, and therefore you don't have that energy circuit available for the present moment because you're dragging that manure bag into your present and into your future. When you forgive and give yourself permission to realize that, it's uh, something that I needed to learn, have that experience. Now I'm going to give myself permission to say that I no longer, I've learned my lesson, I can graduate. You recover that energy circuit. So now you're able to bring more energy into the present moment. And, people believe that they're in the present. they've got maybe 5 energy circuits that are aware of what's happening in this moment. 95 energy circuits, if you've got 100, are living in the past. And then they wonder why the present or their future seems to be a replay of the past. It's because 95% is still in that old crap. So I'm divinely selfish, and I forgive myself for having to have those experiences, but then I want to appreciate the learning lesson. And when you do that, actually, you could remember the experience without having any charge on it whatsoever. It's not that it didn't quite happen. You could still know that, yes, that person did kick me in the teeth, but now it no longer has any energy, any emotion tied to it because you've moved beyond that. And it just becomes, oh, that was something. I learned that lesson. I don't want to do that again. And you move on, but you recover that energy circuit. And having a good life is really somewhat contingent on uh, where you can place your focus, as Bob said. Thank you.
I for a large portion of my life, I had a really rough relationship with my father. My father was somebody through basically my entire life. I thought of as the term that I used in my head was my father is a rage monster. And, it was like that from the time I was a little boy until a few years ago when my father passed away. And I spent a lot of time being pissed off, um, and oftentimes finding it in the form that we experience as humans, as my name is Bill, as Bill being a body in the world, um, as an excuse for that's why I do this or that's why I don't do that. And it's also true that I have been blessed that throughout my life, that at moments that I have needed it most, that books and teachers and opportunities have shown up for me. And at one point in my life, somebody that I think of as a teacher um, said to me, "Your problem is that you're too concerned with being right." And for a long time, that made me angry that somebody told me that, until I realized that what I was being told is not that I was being right about a specific incident or about that, um, the overall, that he was just always wrong to have treated me this way or acted this way around me or my family. That what I was being right about is staying right where I was at as it related to the idea of what my father, in my mind, I allowed to represent that to be a truth that became true. And I was just being right that that was true. And so I began to think of it as my goal is not to be right. My right is to be willing to be wrong about everything, because I would rather be right than happy. Excuse me, I would rather be happy than right. And uh, I sort of slipped back into my old thinking for a moment there, but then I was I was able to correct. But I think I know in my life and in people that I've been close with, that I think that we as humans, I know myself, I'm a person that that throughout my life has created a false belief of, if I am the smartest and I have all the knowledge and I'm able to be intellectual about any number of subjects, that somehow that makes me important enough to be safe, and or to have a permission slip that I have a place in the world because. And the reality is that I spent so many years of my life working so hard to, in air quotes, find the answers, that it wasn't until I realized the gentleness and the ease and the safety and the joy and the happiness that comes with just being Bill. And just, I'm not a doormat, and I don't let people run over me. That's not a tenet necessarily of spirituality, although I think occasionally people can fall into that. But it's just at not, as Bob laid out, not spending all my days and all my time being right about what happened in the past so that I can be right about what might happen in the future. So I hope that serves, and that's just my experience.
Thank you, Bill. That is very powerful too. Everybody sharing today has been so, 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 so powerful. Thank you very much.
Can I say thanks to Bob, and can I say thanks to Tom as well for what he said? It really related to me. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Can I just can I just ask one technical question? I'm clicking on the link at the top there, Course in Miracles Daily Reading and Lessons. The website's just not coming back to me. Is that for everyone or just for me, do you think? It's on the time.
Of course, in Miracles, daily reading and lessons.
The answer is yes to both of those questions.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Everyone.
takes you into the live session on Facebook, I believe, right?
Well, today I have up there right this minute what's coming out of the Twitch stream, and I can replace this one. It should work, but let me swap it out for the YouTube
And,
link because that one's a little bit more
and while Lee does his
bulletproof.
magic, for those of you who don't know, Twitch is yet another social media deal that, each one has its own special place. And that one is one that that Lee has chosen, that can reach people that otherwise might not be able to be reached with this kind of message. And all we're trying to do is to get a message out to people who have gone through a lot of abuse and crap in their lives and keep thinking that they're right, yet they keep getting beat up, and they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's an old phrase from Alcoholics Anonymous. And another way of looking at that is this one. Ready? Pour me, pour me, pour me, pour me another drink. That doesn't work. If you are feeling that you've been abused, that has to be put aside just long enough to be able to welcome in the Holy Spirit. It's the Holy Spirit that heals. It's the ego that bashes the hell out of us. And as long as we worship the ego and we want to do what the ego wants us to do, which means, oh, I'd like to beat the crap out of him for what he did to me. As long as we bow to that kind of thinking, we're going to have what Tom referred to as stinking thinking. The craziest thing of all, Dinesh and everybody else, for what it's worth, is the answer is so simple. But we are so brilliant at coming up with ways to ignore it? The answer is ignore the ego. Listen to the Holy Spirit. Is this a good thought? Is this a healthy thought? Is this a kind thought? Then we move into a much better place. So, Dinesh, I hope you come back tomorrow, and we'll beat you up again.
Yeah, I'll try. In fact, I want to share something. You know, one trick, I don't know if this will help anyone, but I just feel to share this. Maybe it comes of use to someone. Okay. So I can sense that a lot of people have had issues with, well, fathers, mothers, sisters, wives, husbands, whatever, relationship issues, abuse, whatever. Um, so recently, I went in London for 3 weeks. Um, I went back after 2 years. I got vaccinated. I took my kids. We did everything, the movies, the works. And in those 3 weeks, I didn't visit any family. I put my phone off. I just had 3 weeks for me and my kids, and I lost my every all my past worries and fears and abuse. Everything was like diverted. I would say it was on a back seat because all the time I spent was dedicated to my kids. Now I came back to Ghana. I started work, and within a matter of under 2 weeks, sorry to say, shit hit the fan again. So it's like um, my dad and me had a fight, and he left again. Work problems, blah blah blah. The same drama. So now what we've decided to do, my family spoke to me and they're like, look, I gave the idea. I'm like, we're gonna travel the world now. Screw this. I'm not gonna let what everyone has done to me put me down. I need to bring myself back up. What's the solution? So one solution was, all right, Dad. You know, when we were in London, you were happier. 3 weeks, no phones, no family, no nothing. So let's just try and travel the world. Now, I know not everyone will have access to maybe just running away and traveling, but I guess for me, traveling is like a way of distracting the mind. So what I'm trying to say is, if you distract your mind, you find something that makes you happy, and that something distracts your mind, and you do it as you get up and drink a cup of coffee, you go to work, do that thing every time you get low or you feel bad. Like, I used to cook. So cooking, I don't know, something about cooking makes me happy. The noises, the fragrances, it's actually the noises, the fact that I'm producing something, it made me happy. So I started cooking. But now the traveling is the one which I'm trying to experiment on, that if I just take my kids and travel out the world for the next 5 years. So maybe for someone it'll be, I don't know, swimming. For someone it'll be music or dancing. But if you find something anytime you feel low that distracts you, that makes you happy, and that takes you away from this, whatever this is that is messing you up, maybe that's a tool that would help someone.
Sounds like a good tool, Jay. Dinesh, thank you. Jay, you had been patiently waiting. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm really grateful to join this room today. I hadn't expected to have such great conversation or listen to great conversation and points. I'm all about self-awareness and moving forward and growing. And I was listening to Bob, listening to Tom, and I completely agree with both of your standpoints. Other than probably a Hindu, especially you being a Christian, Bob, and bringing God into it. I was also motivated by Dinesh and his pain, or maybe his obstacle in life, and I wanted to contribute. But it sounds like, Dinesh, you've actually hit it on the head very clearly. Maybe not phrased it as well as I think I could have probably phrased it. So if I may just say, the starting point is whatever you're feeling in life, and it doesn't have to be wholesale pain, just some sort of offence or some sort of obstruction. Understand, there's various philosophies I use, but one of them is basically, the world's best healers are those that have been hurt the most. So from that standing point, if you're in a position where you're not happy, you are the agent of change, and you can make happiness yourself. No one can give it to you. That's the starting point. Second, like Tom says, they're various circuits he uses, but I'm just going to paraphrase it as thinking space. Your brain can only think one thing at a time. So either fill it with negativity or fill it with positivity. And like the Buddha says, you are what you think, right? So you become what you think. So if you think about negativity, you will attract negativity and negativity will happen in your life. Well, if you think positive things will be attracted to you and positive things will happen in your life. So it's your choice. And knowing that it's your choice then comes down to the single point, which is you can control how you think in the moment. If you feel yourself getting angry or feel yourself being unhappy or being distracted, as you say, pulled into some sort of distraction, then stop thinking. You literally can stop thinking and go thinking about something else. I have a list of things that I like to think about when I'm in a moment where I'm going to get distracted into something negative. And it helps having a prepared list of things that you can think about as an alternative switches your mind from one track to another in the moment. And then the moment you're not thinking about negativity, you open for space for positivity. That's pretty much what I wanted to share.
I
That's
love
wonderful,
that,
Jay.
Jay. Yeah, I love
Does
that.
that have you heard of A Course in Miracles, the book that we're here uh,
No, this is
reading?
why I wanted to check the link.
Well, I'm super glad you're here. Just briefly, it is a course that those of us that have read it for a long time truly believe was authored by Jesus through a scribe named Helen in the 60s. The book's been around, was published in the 70s, and it's been through several different revisions. It's a little bit difficult to read, but it it comes back to the same kinds of teachings that you're talking about. And specifically, today's lesson is forgiveness offers everything I want. And it is that way to keep something in your mind, something that you're grateful for, something that you're willing to forgive to move on for. That same kind of list to get you out of that negative space, those negative cycles that we get stuck in. We just need a key out. And as soon as you realize that thought is a negative thought, that's your opportunity to come back to the present, forgive yourself or
Absolutely.
somebody else or whatever, but to get
No,
back to where I think you're talking about.
yeah. I think we're very much in sync, even though we're coming from different standpoints. I'm born a Hindu, as I say, and I've not really known about my religion until this year. I'm 50, and so now I'm starting to expand upon
Me
the
too, brother.
conversation that Hinduism is, and in doing so, I'm suddenly realizing this concept of um, the me in the current presence, if you like, and then the me over the long term. And Hinduism talks about um, life and death and rebirth in a cycle. Whether you believe it or not, the point is it's all about enlightenment and being a better person. And obviously, I'm not here to sell Hinduism to anyone, but it seems to identify exactly the same rules and ideas and conversation points that you've just talked about in your so many books. The book that you talked about at the top there.
I
Um,
think if you'd come in right when we started, you would have heard us talking about Deepak Chopra, and you would have heard welcomeness to every single other religion. All these paths up the mountain are still leading, we think, to the same spot. And so, brother, you're very welcome here, and I hope you can help us see some of the ways that we align with Hinduism. I found in every single religion things that I can learn from. So, thank you very much for coming.
you're welcome. I'll
Just
definitely look forward to the replay.
And
uh,
I'll add to that. As an architect, I've done more Hindu temples. I've designed more Hindu temples than I have Christian churches, and I've done a Catholic church. I was born and raised Jewish, but I changed my thinking at some point because I couldn't understand why certain things had been rejected by my religion, not necessarily by the teachings of what people should do, but more about the cloak that religions tend to put on their body to make them look different or to operate differently, to make them a more better religion. I don't have patience for religious work. I have a great passion for spiritual, personal spiritual work, which, if I, even in the sense of Jesus, I'll say this, because your point was a very interesting point, and I think about it. Your point to me primarily was just, that I put Jesus into the picture. We're still talking about the thoughts that are going on in our minds. So there's a group of thoughts that, when you connect those dots, so to speak, they outline what Jesus Christ stood for. And I could say most of those, not all, are the same dots that Mohammed stood for. And I go even further to say most of those dots are the same that Mahatma Gandhi stood for. So it's not in any sense a personality issue or even a religious issue for me, but much more the spiritual thoughts that I wish to entertain that bring me the greatest um, happiness and joy, things that you can't buy with money. I don't care how much money you have, it doesn't necessarily buy joy and peace of mind. Those are the things I'm looking for. And anybody who's got another way of doing it that purports to be better, I'm open to listen to it for a while.
It's
And
not so much.
and I think it's great to have you here, Jay.
If I may just say, it's not what's better; it's what works for you. That's the thing
Exactly.
to focus on. I was literally just reading something the other day from a professional perspective, and when in life most people talk about, you need to have goals. If you want to achieve anything, you need to have goals, and so you'll succeed. But this one particular paragraph literally quoted to say goals is for losers, systems is for winners. So find things that work and use them, and you will be a winner at whatever you apply yourself.
Ah, well, I would say that this book presents to us exactly what the cover says it does. It's a course in miracles. And a course in miracles is much more of a systematic way of thinking about life than
Yeah.
setting a goal for today or tomorrow. And I think that's what you're touching on.
Yes.
And it starts off, the first 50 pages or so are about 50. It's funny that it's 50 these days. Remember, it was written in 1967 and 68, but it says these are 50 different ways not to leave your lover, but 50 different ways to experience miracles in your life. If you want a miracle in your life, here is a system and a systematic way of thinking about it, literally, that anyone can embrace that will bring about miracles in their life. And a miracle is something that you can't figure out. That's what, to me, I've had some really significant miracles in my life. The miracle that keeps on giving joy, even as it proceeds from the experienced miracle I already had. And I would love to talk to you about it, Jay. Many people in this room have heard a number of the miracles that I've had. And that's what keeps me stuck in this system, because I like having miracles and it's really good. And everybody else gets to enjoy the miracles too. It's a good way. Hang around for a few days or weeks or whatever. See if this system becomes clear, because it doesn't become clear by anything any one of us says in that moment's time. It occurs to you over a period of time. I would say that that's the way a system works. Wouldn't you agree?
Experience, yeah. Observation, collect your own data, make your own mind up. Don't be given something spoon fed. Work it out yourself. Everyone's got the ability to work out right from wrong, you know, and then it's a case of what's the impact of that decision. You do the wrong thing, it will go one way in life. If you do the right thing, it goes another. Collecting those experiences will make you a better person. Ignoring those
Hmm.
differences will be at your detriment.
I love that.
Beautiful
I,
stuff.
I
I
I
wanted to
think
add
that
something.
actually.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Tom.
I was going to. Well, I was just going to say that coming from a Hindu perspective, I think you got an advantage. And one of the things that I think Bob said that this was really spoken by Jesus, is that actually the Course in Miracles is, and Jesus in some of the things you'll find is what he's trying to do is correct all the various things that Christianity got wrong. And I think you'll see that coming from a Hindu perspective, you'll see a very good correlation that a lot of the
So true.
things that he's correcting is all these ideas that Christianity got wrong. So I think it's you'd be coming from your background, you'll get a much you don't have all that baggage that a lot of the people coming from Western religions have. So you
Oh,
actually have an edge over a lot of others.
I just want to
Thank
say,
you.
I'm born a Hindu, but I haven't been practicing
Yeah,
Hinduism for 50 years. It's only in the last couple of years, after a lifetime of um, experiences. Now I've got a bit of
yeah,
time to examine where my roots are. So I've probably been in less temples, Hindu temples, than Bob. You know what I mean? So, I'm just collecting information and just paraphrasing it, sharing it here. But I'm learning myself, at the rate of everyone else. I'm not a huge advocate of Hinduism, but I'm just realizing it's actually got quite a lot to say to me. And, if you want to take the time to learn about it without all the dogma, without all the ritual, etc., which is a turn off for me. I like an easy life. I want to know the facts and just the facts, and I can paraphrase Hinduism quite clearly. There's two paths in life. The path of desire, which is based around the body, pleasure, material wealth, etc., and it has a certain impact on you at the end of the day. And then the path of renunciation, and basically it's another way of saying follow God, follow, renounce your desires, follow the path of Dharma. Dharma is just one aspect, as in code of conduct. If you live your life by a certain code or duty, you will be a better person. The other side of that is there's karma, which is a debt you carry in your pocket, just like your wallet. Things you do have an impact on you, whether you know it or not. So if you do good things, dharma, and you make sure that you've got a zero karma, if you like, no debt to anyone in any way whatsoever, then you will be traveling in the right direction. And ultimately, if you believe in Hinduism, you achieve a certain state, and you then become one with the universe and God. So that's it in a nutshell for me.
I know God wants us to be happy, and it's been about 2 hours since we started this. So for those of you that have to move on, thank you for coming today. We started about 6:30 Eastern every single morning. Dad and I have been here since, well, we started this room July 4th, but we've been in Clubhouse since January of last year. And honestly, Dad and I've been reading this every single morning for 6 years. So we found this path after searching for a lot of paths. Dad was searching before I was even born. And this one lines up with all of them. This one lines up with all the paths that are close to the top of the mountain. And it takes some walking to get here in the first place. You can't just walk into this kind of stuff. It doesn't make any sense from the perspective of the dual world that we live in. This is a non duality thinking, meaning there's only light, there's no darkness. Darkness is just the absence of light, and false is just the absence of the truth. So we're focusing on the truth, and you're talking the truth. That's wonderful. I know there's some other people. If any of you guys want to share, we welcome you. Today, the lesson is forgiveness offers everything I want. I hope you have a peaceful day. Tomorrow, I'll be here to read lesson 123. Thank you for coming.
I just wanted to add. I think everything is interrelated, all these ideas. Like he just mentioned Dharma being good energy, right? And you want to attract more positive energy. So you want to, um, attract that type of positive or good energy. And karma, I think, if I'm correct, is seen as negative energy. So you're going to attract more of that negative energy. And I wanted to bring up something earlier that Tom had said about recovering an energy circuit. And by, I guess just claiming that, you no longer want to experience something because you no longer want to attract it. You feel you've learned the lesson and you can move on past it. But a lot of times we see things come up in our lives and we're wondering, why is this happening? And I understand that it's coming up for healing. It's something in us while we are seeing it. We still have a charge. So how do we figure out, well, what is it? We have to go within and question ourselves. And I thought of Lisa Nichols. She has a wonderful tool to help dig out subconscious beliefs that we may not consciously be aware of. And it's an exercise to just begin to write down whatever is coming up for you that appears negative, negative thinking about maybe yourself or a situation. And, you just want to take one concept at a time. So, say you think you're unworthy, for example, whatever it is, you just write all whatever comes up in your mind, because you're right. If you ask yourself, it will come up. Well, I think I'm this, I think I'm that, and you just write. But one idea per line, and you just write it and sit with it, and you might have several pages. I actually have done the exercise, and I was shocked at what came out. I think I want to do it again to just revisit it, but you'll feel a sense of emptiness if it's something that's healed within you. But if it's active or it has a charge or an energy to it, it will definitely pop up. And so you write, and you just kind of sit with it for a day. And then the next day, when you revisit your notebook, you want to read each statement, each negative statement, and you want to write in red a positive statement counteracting that negative thought or unwanted thought. I won't say negative, but unwanted thought. And you write a wanted thought or idea right underneath of it. And for each thing that came up, you counteract it and you write underneath it in red. Instead of saying, I am stupid or whatever, so you want to say what you want, I am very intelligent. And maybe even put some ideas of how you showed up for yourself in your life, knowing I'm intelligent because da 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 da. And I found it to be a very powerful, helpful exercise because sometimes we're going along and things pop up. And, as humans, we say to ourselves, well, I don't deserve this. And why is this coming up? And it's coming up for a reason quite often. Um, so I like that concept of recovering that energy circuit. And you won't have a charge when you're healed. Because it's definitely things I'll think about from my past. And I'll think, oh, I kind of laugh at it. Yeah, that's not true for me anymore. I don't even feel that. I don't feel it in my body anywhere. And I know that I'm healed from it. Um, if it's something I think about and it gives me that feeling, I know, oh, there's work to be done here. I need to pull it up, take a look at it, and decide I've learned my lesson. I no longer want to, actually do the exercise of healing so I can move on from it. And it's okay when these things come up. They are here for us. Everything's not always going to be rainbows every day. But most of the time, though, I find that more and more I find peace. Having doing the Course of Miracles consistently and contemplating these lessons. I know in the back channel we're talking about distracting ourselves. um, and yeah, it can be a distraction, but if you actually look at it and do the work, it can. You move from just being distracting yourself from actually shifting into new behaviors and new thinking. But that's my share. Thank you.
Well, you just ring my chimes, just like Lee just did.
Mhm.
That was a good one, Lee.
Sorry. I like that. Nope.
I was here like, tell her you're sorry, please.
that that was
I was
just
hoping it didn't distract your thoughts, Janine.
no.
I'm a ding dong.
Sorry.
What can I say?
That's okay.
We have a lot
I
of
took it as a positive affirmation of what I was saying.
Oh, it was. Definitely
absolutely.
was. Absolutely it was.
Oh, actually, I thought Janine had actually done that in her mind, and she was transmitting that to all of us. Anyway,
I received that, Bob.
life really gets easier when we get rid of the crap that we carry in our minds. It's like dump that stuff. Whenever I walk my dog and he does leaves a little present for someone, if it's in the street, it's not a problem. If it's on someone's new grass that he's just planted or something, I have a little device that gives me a little green plastic thing that I can pick it up and then tie it up so I don't have to smell it on the way home and bring it home and then dump it. And then I don't have to worry about it. I put it in my trash can that's outside. These things happen, but we don't have to keep on suffering from them ever again. And that would respond directly to what Buddha taught. And it also corresponds with so many of the spiritual teachers because, in the end, there aren't that many different types of lessons that we all need. The Ten Commandments work pretty well. Not for everybody, but it's all there. And we like, as Lee said before, we really like the way the Course in Miracles lays it out for us so that we can understand. And what's really cool is we have the benefits of having miracles happen in our lives. And Dinesh, you were asking for an example. And I'm just going to say that I spent 40, over 40 years in architecture, always not happy with the work I was doing because always I thought, for God's sakes, can't some client come along just once? And Lee knows this is true because I've said
It
it
is the truth.
so
I
many times.
absolutely agree.
Just once, I want someone where money is not a problem, where you don't have to pinch pennies. You finish up design, you finish up the drawings, and then they say, okay, let's see what it's going to cost. And then they look it over and they say, oh, shit, we can't build this for that price. So, which one are they going to do? And they call it value engineering. I have a different word for value engineering. The point being that I can't dwell in that. And now, miraculously, frankly, towards the end of last year, I met with someone who said, we are going to mine for gold and diamonds in Liberia, Africa. And when we pull that money, that value up, we're going to apply it not to our pocket and our bank accounts, but to new communities for Liberia, which has been hit really hard. They've had civil wars, they've had Ebola. Only 3 countries in 54 of the countries in Africa were hit hard by Ebola a couple of years ago. And not only that, one of the others was Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is contiguous. It shares a boundary line with Liberia. Well, a man that I met 10 years ago, I called him up to try and raise money for what we're doing. And lo and behold, he's doing what we're doing in Sierra Leone. And by the time we put all of that together, we're going to be working together. So there are 2 countries that are going to have the benefit of my architecture on the one hand, the biggest value of underground um, minerals being brought up so that the country itself, the people themselves, are supporting the reconditioning of their lives and of their country that they love. And we're working together now, and it's amazing. Uh, uh, it's amazing for so many different reasons. For one thing, my brother who lives in Israel is doing the financing for ours. I brought him in here to Liberia, and yet he had been doing the finances with the gentleman in Sierra Leone for even a longer period of time. And so he's doing the financing for both, which makes it very easy for us to form a joint venture. So I now have an amazing miracle in my lap. The amazing miracle that true miracles keep getting better, and they don't need to see. The Catholics insist, I think, for it to be an official miracle, somebody has to do all kinds of research, make sure that Mother Mary was involved. That's all well and good. They can do all that. The miracle is I now have a client who has more gold and diamonds underneath their soil than any client ever could have had or will have in the future. And I will have a chance to bring my beneficial, humanitarian, sustainable type of designs to where they are living. It will have aquaponics so that no one ever has to starve again. It will have solar so that power is always available. It will have broadband so that everyone can get connected. They have a hospital, one, and they have a few little clinics, but they don't even have any broadband. So they don't have any way even of saying, hey, we have a real problem. Let's say some woman is going to give birth. We need help right away. Can't even do that. The phones don't work half the time. It's going to change their life, and it's going to make it a better life. And that's now going to be two countries, because we started off thinking, well, if we can just help one country, it'll be an example for others. And now, through this amazing miracle, it's getting bigger and better. So I'm excited about it. These are the miracles one of the miracles that I have experienced by applying the very principles here, getting my own crap out of the way so that miracles can appear in my life. I don't do magic, I don't do miracles, but I allow miracles to come through me. And
Thank you, Dad.
that's the way it works. Yep,
Thank you,
that's
Dad.
it.
Omar, you had raised your hand about an hour ago to come up here and speak, and I
Oh my
don't know if we
gosh.
gave you space, but Omar, I'd
Yeah,
love to hear your story if you've got some time.
yeah, thank you, Lee. Yeah, actually, got interested also in what Dinesh was saying, like the idea of forgiveness and or like having to forgive. And for me, like I used to do that also. I used to just stick to ideas, and it works for some time, but it just it's not reliable. So it's like some kind of fight, you know, or you know, it's like you're trying to create an effect all the time, and the seeking is like going to the effect, but the effect itself stays for a while and then goes. So yeah, it took me some time actually until like it was recognized that it's just the mind that wants the effect. Um, it's like my mind is like a drug. Like I was just trying to get the effect of using this idea or like this understanding or remembering this feeling or like that. And it worked for some time, and sometime it doesn't work because it's just like a tool. It's like a drug. Like you don't, it doesn't have to always make you high. So you know, so I just give up the whole effort. It was just like a seeking effort to try to maintain something, like to maintain like positive state or a forgiveness, compassionate state. Yeah, but it's futile. Like there's no hope in continuously keeping that up. It's like a fight to infinity. It's like fighting infinity. And yeah, if you just give that up, I think there's a lot of freedom in that, and not having to go there. like not having to remember or to use this idea. There's a freedom in that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, our egos keep us searching outside because all of the answers are actually within us already. And it has us seeking everywhere but where the oneness truly is, Omar. I absolutely agree with what you're saying, and that forgiveness that I come back to here in this lesson really helps me point back inward because God's within every single one of us and never goes away, can't be taken away. So I'm with you, brother. It's wonderful. Thank you. Have you read or have you seen the book A Course in Miracles?
I saw the website actually. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, pointers there.
Sometimes it has a funny
Yeah.
way of popping into our lives over and over again, and it's hard to tell. But that's one of the questions that I ask sometimes. And yep, there's a website out there. If any of you would like to see it, feel free to go to, and I'll put this link up above too. You know what? I don't need to say anymore. I'll put a link up above so that you guys can get to the book directly.
Can I say something to Omar? Maybe this could help. Very quick. You see, there's no easy way of forgiving someone. That's what I learned. Um, it's like there are gonna be good days and bad days. Some days you're gonna be like, okay. Some days you're gonna be like, what the hell? So that's normal. It's fluctuative, and that's okay. That's just it's a process. And frankly speaking, I don't think anyone can ever forgive those who've hurt them 100%. Nah, I don't think that's possible. Okay, 60, 80, 70, 90, 95, whatever, but there's still going to be something inside you lingering. And I feel that's okay. I think our job is to do our best possible to forgive as much as possible, and that just means we're doing what we can. And the other thing I want to say, which may help everyone, is that you see, I am someone who's been beaten the hell out of emotionally, mentally, by people I've loved and trusted. They've betrayed me, and it made me sick for 3 years. I couldn't get out of bed. I was depressed. I've been depressed since I was like 12 years old. The thing that now pushes me forward is anytime someone does something to me, I just say, you know what? Bring it on. You know why? Because I'm a servant of God. I'm not here to serve you. I'm not here to do anything for you. If you're getting your way by beating me up in one way or another, doing what you're doing to harm me or my family, and it's giving you a gain, you know what? Good luck with that for now. But I am a servant of God. I'm here to do God's work. So I'm going to continue doing that, and God's got me. He's going to look out for me. You hit me, that's fine. I'm still going to do what I do, but eventually things are going to hit you back. So I would say to everyone that I believe we're all servants of God. There are stories or things that people in this room have said that has helped me recently. So I know that I'm not in what I'm in alone. Everyone goes through something in their own way. But all you need to do, perhaps, I hope I'm not wrong on this, is say to yourself that, listen, I am a servant of God. What has happened to me is not good. Fine. I need to focus on other things for now. And God's got my back. So this is what I want to share with you, Umar. I hope it helps you because, nothing is going to be 100%. You can't forgive someone 100%. Again, I'm sorry, that is my humble opinion. You can't.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah. Yeah.
1995, and then
Sure.
after that you're just going to have to say to yourself that, listen, man, I did my possible best to forgive you. I've got a job to do for God. I called a lady last week. I'll just share this 2 minutes with you guys. I have a sister, Elizabeth. She's from America. She's been in Ghana, and I've been in touch with her for 5 6 years. She has an orphanage for little kids who are amputees and abused children. So every year I pull out a certain amount of my money and I give it to charity, and she's one of them. Now, last week I was like, Dinesh, what are you gonna do? You need to close down your company, focus on your finance business, focus on your rental business, and travel the world with your kids. And how are you gonna do this? I mean, you need some advice. And I rang her up. I said, have lunch with me. I met her for the first time after 5 to 6 years. She came over. We had lunch. She's an 80-year-old woman. an American lady, 80 years of age. We sat down chatting, and here I was saying, Sister, I need to do this, I need to do that, enough is enough. And we're just chatting, and then I asked her about her, and she said that she came to Ghana when she was 29 years of age. She's a Catholic, and she came here because someone said they were opening up an orphanage and would she like to take charge? And she said yes. And I said, Sister, so how long have you been here? And she's like, 50 years this year. And she's been in Ghana for 50 years of her life, taking care of children with no limbs, taking care of children who have been abused. She told me there was a girl who was 2 years of age. They adopted her and they brought her back, and she had a hip fracture and they beat her up and all that, all sorts of abusive and dirty things. And I was just sitting there and looking at her, and I was like, Dinesh, you're an idiot. You're such a stupid person. Look at this person who has dedicated her life to serving God, 50 years just to look after the poor little kids. And what the hell are you on about? So that inspired me to say, Dinesh, you know what? Fine. Close your company, run the businesses that you have that are making you money, and then close the ones that are stressing you out and use that time to focus on doing God's work. Get into more charities, do good things for children who need it, medical assistance for kids. So I was having the debate that my life is mine and I need to travel the world and do all sorts of things. But after I spoke to her, I said, no, I cannot allow even the past to bring me down. Those who have hurt me, fine. If I can't forgive them, I cannot allow the incident to put me down and make me sick and depressed, because I have a job to do. I mean, I have to stand up. I have to work, get some money, pay my kids' education, pay my medical bills, and as well pay for these little children. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? So I'm not going to allow the past or all that crap to get to me. So that's one way I try to move on with my life, even though people have really beat me to the floor, and those who I gave my life to. I sacrificed 30, 40 years of my life for my father and my sister, and they betrayed me for what? For money, for £500,000 house, for property, for assets, and they got some of it. You know what? Bloody good luck. I have a job to do. I am God's servant. I believe that in my heart that I'm his servant, and I'm not gonna. Even though I can't, excuse me to say, even though I can't fully, I'm not gonna lie. Forget the word fully. I can't forgive them. No, I can't. I cannot forgive someone for doing what they did to me after I just cared for them, but I'm not going to let it get me down. I have God who I feel has got my back, and let him deal with those who have struck me down, because I'm not God. I'm his servant. I just want to carry on doing my job. He's my head office. So I said, God, you're my head office. I've reported the incident to you. So I'm going to conduct my duties. I'm a servant of your office. And please, I've made the report. I've made the complaint to you. So please do what you feel is necessary and allow me to do
I
what is
love how you
necessary.
just turned.
That's
You
beautiful.
just turned
Can I
around. That was perfect. You are going to be open to
can,
forgiveness.
can,
That's
can I
good.
can I can I address Dinesh, please? Um,
Sure.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree that you're doing the best you can do in life by shutting the door on your mother, your father, whoever's done wrong to you, and saying, "Good luck to you. Keep the money. I'm going to do service." Right? The problem here is you have two states, and a state of abundance where you are your best person, you're your best version of yourself. You're confident, you're lucky, you're powerful, you're strong, all the rest of those terms. And then there's the place of lacking. And you can still have the same conversations. Oh, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to help people. I'm going to ignore the negativity. But your actual potential is reduced significantly if you are talking from a place of lacking rather than a place of abundance. So you need to address, my friend, I'm giving you this as advice, you need to come to terms more than just closing the door and just saying, I'm not going to forgive them, right? I can't. You need to forgive them in order for yourself to be whole, and then you'll be abundant, and then you'll be able to do much more good in the world for God than you currently are in your current state.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree
I
with
agree with you. I do agree with you, Jay. But I believe also that forgiveness, okay, so forgiveness is a process, in my opinion. You can't hit me down and then say, oh, tomorrow forgive me. No, I believe it's a process. Whatever you just said, I'm relating it to it, I'm processing it, and I believe you're right. That I could do better if I'm able to forgive them and move on with things than to shut them out and move on with things. I do believe you're right. But the thing is, believe me, brother, how to say this to you? Your parents are not my parents. Bob's parents are not
Now,
my
I
parents.
know where you're going to go
Everyone's
with this.
parents is different. Every
My
situation
parents
is
kicked
different.
me out when I was 18, and I've lived
Mm,
a life without family, 100%, no family.
mm.
So I have broad shoulders. I've had a lot of pain, but I've had broad shoulders. I've come around, and I know the way to deal with this pain that you carry towards them is to forgive them. And it starts off with, in your mind, finding alternative reasons for why they did whatever they did. That's the first thing, an explanation. The second thing is, you yourself have the ability, you're like a sponge, you know, you can go in and out, you can move, you're malleable, I think is the word. If you can't change at your core, then you need external help. And the way the external help works is you reach out to the same people who hurt you. You know, there's various philosophies in life. If you have a problem, take it to the person you have the problem with. No one else. Don't bitch to everyone else. Not that you bitch. Don't talk to everyone else about your problem, about them. Go to them. Why? Because the very moment you pick up the phone and you get an honest conversation where it effectively boils down to, I forgive you. They can say, I forgive you, or you can say, I forgive you. The weight will be off your shoulders. And that is forgiveness. It's either given to you or you give it to yourself. And if you can't give it to yourself, get them to give it to you just by having that conversation. You can be as honest as you are here. And you say, look, you're my parents. I should love and respect you. You should look after me. But if you can't do what you're supposed to do, don't worry. I don't wish you ill. I don't want you to wish me ill. We'll live separate lives, which isn't right. But in doing so, I'm happy to give you the best blessing that I can give you, and I'll go in my own direction. Once you've done that, you'll be free, my man. You'll be free to be the bigger person that you are. You had the potential to be.
You see, can I ask you something? I'll tell you what I do. I I don't wish my father bad. My mom passed away. She didn't really harm me in any way. It was after she passed away that my dad and my sister screwed me up. Either way, the thing is, believe it or not, I'm not gonna lie. I don't lie. I say the way it is. Everyone knows me for being straight up. I hate my father. I hate my sister. But I pray for them every morning and every night. That I tell God that, God, forgive them for what they've done to me and forgive me for what I've done to them. And you know what? Look after their health, look after them, but please do me a favor. Just keep me and my kids away from them because they're very toxic and I can't deal with it. I've tried for 30 years, it didn't work. So, you see, as I was saying in my last communique, that everyone's life journey is different. I can't feel the pain which you have felt in your past because I was not in your shoes, and vice versa. But I can relate to it. So
Can
maybe
I
some
say something?
people, yeah, sure.
Yeah, actually, like, I think like for like someone who is free from, pain, or getting something, he does not necessarily have to be a good person. I think this is a taboo, that we're having subconsciously. I know a lot of people may not agree with this, but like we don't have to be always forgiving or good. Like we can also be evil. I don't think we have to always be good people. And if you're free from you know uh, like all your the mind chatter, that doesn't mean that you will always be good to deal with. So it, being free of this idea of like, okay, I should be forgiving my parents. The mind may say that. I think it's just the mind. For the human being, it is right to say this. It is right to say like we have to always agree, we have to always be loving, but like ultimately, like you don't have to be anything, and this is true freedom. Like you don't have to forgive or not forgive. It doesn't matter really. Like, so I think it's a taboo. We have to get over this. It's just a taboo, like a belief system that we have to choose like one side,
So
the good
the
side.
way our book,
Yeah.
the way that the book, the Course in Miracles handles this is right in line with what all of you are saying. All three of you are right. We have an opportunity here to practice. That doesn't mean we have to practice. You can do whatever you want to do, but God will wait patiently for you to learn your lesson, however many lifetimes it takes. It's your choice. He's going to wait patiently, giving you the opportunities over and over and over again to learn whatever lessons you need. And that's part of the freedom of being alive. That's why we chose this path. Everybody here is here because we wanted this learning opportunity. Whether you believe it or not, Dinesh, this was a request that you gave to your parents to give you an opportunity to grow in a new way. And you don't have to take it. You can keep them out of your life. You'll probably get another opportunity next life. Don't feel like you've got to beat yourself up in order to do it, because it only works when you go into it with your own free will anyway. So I bless you whether or not you decide to play the game or not. But if you could see it as a game and not as them harming you personally, even though I know how much it hurts when it feels like the other parent of your children is causing them damage, or their grandfather, be at peace for a little bit longer so that you can find your own way to freedom.
Amen.
Yeah, amen.
Thank you. Can I say bye to everyone? I'm gonna run for work. I just
Absolutely.
want to say bye to everyone. God bless you all. Hope to see you tomorrow. And uh, I love the room, and I wish everyone in the room good luck, good health, and blessings. Thanks, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
God bless,
Thanks, Dinesh.
Nash. Peace and love to
Good
you.
luck.
Love and light.
We'll be here tomorrow for lesson 123. Hope to see you all. Thanks. And you can continue to talk. I don't need to close the room. I have this week off of work. Blessings to me. So I hope you all can have a wonderful.
Yay. Have a great week, Lee.
Everyone enjoy yourselves. Have a great, beautiful day. See you tomorrow. Peace and love.
Thank you, Rosa.
Peace and
Bye,
love.
Rose.
All right, I'll wrap it up. Have a wonderful day. If you still feel like sharing, I'll let this song play out, and we can still keep it open. But if you've got to go and be on your way, then have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Lee.
Bye, everybody.